Hey everybody, this is Steve with the Eagle Armament. I got on here to do a video of this shotgun stock that I am working on, the whole shotgun itself, but I'm down to repairing the stock right at the moment. I wanted to show you a little bit what I did to repair this. There's a crack down through here, this whole say corner was flexing pretty bad, and there's a slight one here and then a slight one here that stretched all the way down. This wasn't too deep, but I did file it out some and kind of scrape it out enough that when I got done repairing it with these stock repair screws that I get from the supply house for all the gunsmithing stuff that I might need. Just drill how these work is you just drill a hole out a little bit smaller than the screw, and then make sure, like example here, this was this crack here, so I did these on the bottom side. You can kind of see where they're at now. Those will get blended in, so they won't really stick out after it's all finished. Just drill through part way through the crack area, and then don't go all the way through the other side, so you don't have to plug two holes, and it reduces the risk of it pulling back out or working loose. You put these in like a drill, and then you screw them in. Then you just take like side snips. These are brass, so you just take like side snips. You can snip them right off. And then I took a little Dremel with a little grinder and ground it off down a little further. That sandwiched these two, this split together, and then I did one crossways for this one here. So I did two here because of the length of the crack, and the severity was down here, so that's why I did down here, and that's where the most strain is from it meeting up with the receiver. Did this one through here so it didn't separate this way. These the set that I got, they ship them with a drill bit, so it takes the guesswork out of trying to find one that's just a tick smaller, so it gets a good bite into the wood. After before I did all that, this is the finish stripper that I used to take the initial finish off to get it down to where I could see to get how bad the crack was, because this was a really dark stock if you've seen in previous videos. When I got it all cleaned out, I with a file and some of the bigger shavings, I did kind of grind those up a little bit more, and this side you can kind of tell it's a little bit, but once I stain it and everything, it'll blend back in. I used this 2-part epoxy by Gorilla Glue. It does say it sets up in 5 minutes, but don't take its word for it. I have to let it set a couple days to get it to harden up really good. But all I did is, you can see some of the spots I did. I had a cleaning spot, and I squirted some down on here and mixed it with some of the sawdust, or the grinding dust that I shaved out of here. And then when I did it, I packed it back in the crack after I put those repair screws in, and it helped blend the wood grain because it went with the grain. Putting that wood back down there kind of helped out. Now the stain's going to help it blend it all the way back in. There's different steps I'll take to get it blended in, but the amount of the cracks you can't help. But as far as drilling these holes, try to reduce the amount that it drilling it takes, because you don't want a bunch of things being noticed. And then I got this rasp. I didn't need to use this. This is aggressive for taking down heavy marks and everything, but I use the fine flat and the fine curved curve for in here. I already had taken this down, get rid of all the excess resin on this side, and then the flat I used on, of course, the flat areas here, and then all these little marks from the file. I got 220 grit sandpaper that I go to then, and then go with the grain to work it out. The object is initially to start with getting all the finish off like really good, because regardless of doing this, and filing does take that resin down pretty good after it's really hard. You can clean it out with a wire brush. But the sandpaper, if there's still any bit of finish on it, it will gum it up. You'll blow through sandpaper like crazy. Object is to get it stripped down is really good. But my recommendation is wear gloves and be in a ventilated area. If you got a respirator, we use it. It does have kind of a sweet smell to it, but I wouldn't inhale it. And having ventilation definitely helps, because it'll dry your eyes out too. If you're doing it in a kind of a confined area, or stink up your garage, house, whatever. But yeah, I just 220 grit sandpaper with the grain. Same with the filing. Go with the grain. That way you don't get some cross hash marks too bad. Sometimes you can't help it. Like there's some areas on here that I had to kind of go against the grain a little bit. But I'll go to a 320 then. Usually that's good enough. This doesn't really need too much. And then if need be, I got a 2500 grit for a real fine sand. It's pretty much automotive sandpaper, but I mainly use it on some of the metal stuff to get a good, clean, scratch-free finish to it. But I do have, this is the one that really needed repaired. The two firearms I got, the 22 rifle, it just needs refinished, but I will, I might do a video on that, I'm not sure yet. But when I'm all done with this, all sanded smooth and everything, I'll show getting some stain on it, and then I'll show a coat, doing the final coat on this. I use True Oil by Birchwood Casey, and it puts a nice gloss finish on it. You kind of got to do two or three coats, sometimes 4 coats at the most, depending on how shiny you want it. But this was pretty shiny to begin with, so I'll probably go back to maybe 3 or 4 coats. I'll do another video on that, and get back with you guys with another video, and show y'all what's going on. And another thing before I forget, if there is divots, steam, if you got like an iron or something, you mist it with some water and steam, lift the grains back out of the wood. It helps repair it, so you don't have to fill it in and worry about putty. I use epoxy because it just holds up so much better, especially in the high strain area. Putty will just flake out over time. It gives too much, and it turns brittle. This epoxy will mix it up with wood shavings, dust, sawdust, or whatever, and then fill it in, and then try to blend it in with some stain and stuff. It'll match up good, and it'll last a long time. But that's all I got for this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.